Hello and welcome to another jam-packed show. It's On the Bench Extra, and joining me as ever is the man with slightly less of a beard than me. It's Mr. Tom Reid. In this show today, we will be having a look at the latest results. We'll be previewing the upcoming fixtures, and we'll also be talking about Grimsby Town's striker dilemma. So first of all, hello, Mr. Reid.
Hello, Hardy.
How are we doing?
I'm okay. Are you?
Yeah. Did you have a good week?
It's all right.
Good man. Uneventful as ever. First of all, we're going straight into it. North Ferriby. There's been a lot of controversy in the past week or so with what's going on in the club. Obviously, it's been a fantastic season for them, but where do they go now?
That's a difficult question because, have they reached the top, so to speak, at their level? They've won the FA Trophy, which, a club at the conference level down, that's the highest achievement they could probably get in a cup. They've done that now, and obviously their league position's 10th. It's respectable. Ideally, promotion, I would think, is the next step.
The future remains unclear, though. It's not looking good. Les Hare, the chairman, is now gone, and there's been a lot of vocal North Ferriby fans on social media saying about the Alams and obviously their ownership of the club and what they've done. So what do you make of it? What's been going on social media the past week?
Les Hare's statements, it gives you a clue to what has gone on. I think they've taken control of the club now more than, they've taken it from him, I think. So obviously, that's their decision to do that because they own the club. And obviously Les Hare's thought, it's the right time for me to step back now because it's beyond my control what they want to do, kind of thing.
Because there were rumours that North Ferriby might have been having to drop down a league or two even. And that's what a lot of the players were putting on social media. And obviously people were seeing that and they were quite alarmed and they were thinking, no pun involved there, alarmed, but...
I did, yeah. I'd be quite alarmed as well if that was the case. I don't know. Is that even feasible? Can that happen? Is that because of finances? Who knows what's going to happen? Where would that take them to? Would that be the
even further down?
Yeah,
which isn't the right direction for them.
Yeah, no, it's not the right direction at all. And I think obviously Les Hare's been there over 2 decades. I think the best part of 2 decades. So for him to leave, that puts the stability of the club up in the air even more, which is the wrong direction, definitely. Considering they have, they won the FA Trophy, you think they'd be going in the right direction.
And obviously a man who we've interviewed for the show earlier on in the season as well. So disappointing to hear that news. Obviously, the season before this, the North Ferriby were looking at promotion. Obviously, they were very, very unfortunate to miss out on that. This season, as you mentioned, they've finished 10th. Now, obviously, with finances and things not looking great at the moment, where do the club go next season? What are they aiming for?
I think realistically, it's probably a case of, let's get a mid-table finish again. If Les Hare obviously has left the club, do they get a new chairman? Is the club then sold? What's the aims of the club now? Is it just will forever be a Conference North club, or do they really want to go and push on?
And we don't know what set of players they'll have for next season either, so
that can change as well.
We'll have to see. Right, let's have a look at the latest set of results then. Hull City beat Liverpool 1-0 with a Michael Dawson header from Ahmed El Mohammadi's assist. The Tigers are now 4 points clear of the relegation zone after back-to-back wins. Gary McSheffrey scored the decisive goal as Scunthorpe beat Gillingham 2-1 to secure League One survival, with just 1 game remaining at Doncaster. Hakeeb Adelakun continued his recent scoring form. Grimsby warmed up for the playoffs with a 3-1 victory over Aldershot, thanks to Ross Hanna's brace and a John Paul Pittman strike. The win saw the Mariners ending the campaign in 3rd with 86 points, their best finish to a Conference Premier season. And lastly, North Ferriby's season ended with a 0-0 draw at Church Road against Bradford Park Avenue. The villagers can be satisfied as their campaign concluded with a respectable 10th place finish and an FA Trophy triumph, as Mr. Reid has already told us.
Yes.
So, going into Hull City first, we'll focus on their result. Crazy set of results for the
We never called that.
We didn't know. We were probably a little bit negative about it.
Have they been to Mexico, an overnight stay again? Have they been on another trip away?
Another trip abroad. Maybe that's invigorated them.
Another team building exercise from by Bruce, and whatever they've done, it's worked. Because all right, we thought they might get something against Palace, but never against Liverpool, if we were honest.
No, exactly. I think I said with the Palace game, if they go out and attack, and I said some Hull fans will call me mad. Yeah. They'll be calling me other names as well. But Ndoye, the goals that he scored were fantastic, weren't they?
Massive 3 points, really, and it's come at the right time as well. Because as we said, is it 3 remaining games now or 4? and they're against the so-called bigger sides. So I think there's a Burnley game in there as well. They could get a result against Burnley now.
I think they could, and as I said last week, I think they can get a result against Spurs as well. So it's looking on the up for Hull, and obviously wins breed confidence, and you're hoping then they go into the other games with a bit more energy.
Well, they're 6 points better off since we last spoke on the show, so now optimism's there again, and I'm now going to say, yeah, I think they'll stay up.
You think they'll stay up?
I do.
Do you know what? You keep changing your mind.
I think Sunderland will be going down.
Sunderland? Why Sunderland, would you say?
Just because Hull are playing well. You know, the performances aren't too bad. Look at that performance against Chelsea. That was great. If they can do that, you know, that's fantastic. They'll stay up. Sunderland, however, they're playing poor as well. They're not scoring many goals at all. They're quite poor. The standard of their football overall, I don't think Advocat's got them going yet. So I think they might suffer this season and go down.
Defoe's been disappointing since he's come, and obviously they've got the Adam Johnson situation they've got to deal with as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad vibes around the club and negativity, and obviously poor performances. So I think that'll result in relegation. I do. Without
a doubt. Scunthorpe United then. The Iron got that massive win to obviously secure their safety in League One. How do you see the season as a whole? Because it's been topsy-turvy, hasn't it?
Job done. Job done. I think the aim was stay in League One. Because obviously League Two last season, promoted. I think the aim for a newly promoted club is surely stay in that division. You can't expect too much. Obviously they changed the manager as well. Was it back in November or something like that?
Yeah, beginning to start the season.
Yeah, so you know that you change your manager halfway through a season or start of the season, and it's like, oh, we've got to rebuild from now. He's got his team in place. He's going to have different ideas and philosophies. So that might take time. And job done. They've stayed in League One.
And Matt Robbins is renowned for that, for taking clubs to safety. So it's where he can go from here. I think he's got a good basis of a squad.
Oh, I think next season now is where you can really analyse them. I think this season you can't be too harsh on them. They've stayed in the league. You know, they have had injuries and things like that. Different loanee signings coming in and out. You know, mixture of squad players. So now next season, kick on really.
Definitely. Quickly, just North Ferriby, 0-0 draw. Good end to the season.
Yeah, obviously didn't get shafted 4-0 or anything like that, so it's a decent result, and 10th place finish is respectable.
Thank you, Mr. Earlier this week, Grimsby had their Player of the Year award. So, Reidy, we're going to have a quick chat about what you thought was right and whether you thought some of them were wrong. Carl Magnay took most of the awards, didn't he?
Yeah, I think, well, for many, what I've seen on social media from many fans, he was the Player of the season for them, and from me seeing him perform personally as well at matches, he's a standout player. He is a standout player.
He's also a fan's favourite. He's built a very strong relationship with the Grimsby supporters.
He's always got time for the fans, which I like, and he always, acknowledges the fans, and you can see the passion from him actually. You know, he's not a Grimsby-born lad. He's nothing like, but when he wears the shirt, he's so passionate on that pitch. You can tell.
A lot like Sean Pearson, the way he displays his passion and things. I think that's why the crowd have warmed to him, and he's built such a good reputation. Looking at other things, the Grimsby Town Supporters Young Player of the Year, Craig Clay's won that. He's had some decent performances from what I've seen this season.
He is a good midfielder. I like Craig Clay. Again, he brings someone else to midfield. Scott Brown's got your pace and energy, but Clay's also got the passing and the movement as well. So again, you can't really argue with too many of the awards.
I think he breaks up the play well as well, Craig Clay. He's done well there with that. The goal this season, Jack McCreth, the screamer against Gateshead. I was there at the game and you just saw it fly in. It was absolutely brilliant goal.
Jack McCreth, he's not a prolific goal scorer, obviously, but he can score goals. But he bombs down that wing. So, yeah, why not?
And he cut in on his left foot as well. It's his weak foot, so you know.
Can't argue with that.
There's been some good Town goals this season, though. So, for him to take that award, he's a pretty big one,
He
isn't
must
it?
be pleased with that,
Yeah, definitely. Looking at some of the other players that won the awards, we mentioned Sean Pearson earlier. He won an award as well. John Lewis won an award. We've got Paul Walker. We've got, as we've already said, Carl Magnay took the majority of them. Craig Disley won the Legends Bar Player of the Year. Now, you've liked Disley this season, haven't you?
I have liked Disley, yeah. I think he brings a lot to the table. He can score goals. He can make that pass. He's got the experience now. And he's also a leader as well. It's all the things that make a really great player. And, he might be vital, for the next season.
Do you think he's got another season in him?
I think so. I think he can play a deeper role because, he reads the game well, I think. So he could sort of step back slightly, a bit deeper, rather than bombing forward. You might not use him, you might not tell him to go and score goals. You might not give him a goal target, just say, Craig, just stay in front of that defence. And just use your experience. But
he does score goals, that's the thing. His age isn't a limitation, and he is still scoring a lot of goals, getting double figures in seasons. It's
a fantastic return. So, he has got another season in him, whether it is, going up to score goals, or if he's helping out on the defensive side of the game and reading the game and intercepting.
But if he doesn't end up there next season, they can always call on you, can't they? to come and do a job.
We've
seen your fitness levels. So most of all, you would agree with Carl Magnay taking the majority of the awards, would you say?
I think so, yeah. Carl Magnay, he's been a great right back, left back. You know, he can play either or, and yeah, he's got good attitude.
Other than that, what else have you been impressed with, other than his attitude?
His performances. He can read the game. He's a good football player.
And that's a big thing, isn't it?
Of course,
it is, exactly. Greg, our head-to-head researcher, has been at it again this week, so let's see my instalment of this week's challenge. Eddie Nolan, Niall Canavan, David Murphy, Matt Sparrow, Marcus Williams, Andy Dawson, Terry Hawkridge, Adelakan, Dion Burton, Lyle Taylor, Paddy Madden. Another tricky one, Reidy.
I don't like the Scunthorpe questions. My memory on Scunthorpe's terrible.
No, it is. 4. Do you reckon you'll beat it? No chance. Right, before we head to the break, here's this week's halftime teaser. You'll like this one. Which former Hull City player scored both home and away against Arsenal in the 2008-2009 season? We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Extra. The answer to this week's halftime teaser was Daniel Kuzan. He scored home and away against Arsenal in 08-09 season. Still to come in the show, we debate Grimsby Town's striking options. We also talk about Hull City ticket prices. But first of all, here's the second instalment of this week's head-to-head challenge.
McSheffery, names are Murphy, Madden,
A tricky one this week, Reidy.
Yeah, and as I say every week, my memory's terrible, because it is.
Your memory, honestly, the worst excuse ever. Right, if you were playing along at home, the answers to that were Robbie Olejnik, Luke O'Neill, Andrew Boyce, Marcus Williams, Sean Brisley, Matt Sparrow, Neil Bishop, Terry Hawkridge, Paddy Madden, Gary McSheffery, Rory Fallon. Well done if you got all of those. Right, moving on now, we're going to be talking about ticket prices. More specifically, Hull City and the Liverpool game, charging Liverpool fans 50 quid, Reidy. 50 quid! And they were only charging, I believe it was Stoke and Burnley, £16, which, by the way, is less than going to watch a Grimsby game.
That's disrespectful, is it, to those clubs? Or I don't know why they're doing that. You're in the same stadium. You know, why is it any more expensive to bring another football team there?
Well, why are they punishing the away fans? That's what I mean. They shouldn't be punishing the home fans as well, but I could see a little bit more logic with charging higher home ticket prices. The Liverpool fans aren't necessarily wanting to go to Hull because it's a fantastic stadium and things. They shouldn't have to pay 50 quid.
Why should home fans have to pay £50 to watch Hull against Liverpool, and then, you know, it's the same Hull City team that you're going to watch. It's your team you want to support, regardless of who they're playing.
Exactly. So, no, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
I don't get why the clubs or the Premier League do that. I don't get that. Do
you think it should be standardised then? Do you think there should be something in place?
I think it should be, yeah, because it's hard enough for teams getting promoted, coming into the league. It's hard enough for them to stay in it anyway and sustain that competition with finances. So, you know, why make it harder by saying, oh, you're Crystal Palace, you know, we'll charge someone £5 a ticket. Or you're Chelsea, 50 quid a ticket for you lot.
So there's no Palace fans watching, by the way.
Well, that's just an example. So why is it?
You're making a lot of enemies this series, Reidy. Were the Liverpool fans right to boycott that then? There was a selection that didn't go because of the £50 charge.
That's entirely up to them as fans of that football club. You know, if they feel aggrieved that they're being charged more to watch, to go and watch them away than they do somewhere else, then yeah, they're entitled to that.
Who should be overlooking it then? Should it be something that the clubs agree with? Should the FA or the Premier League get involved?
I think the Premier League should send out a statement to football clubs saying, this is what you can charge for home games within this bracket. Away for visiting teams or visiting fans, this is what you need to charge for those. But it's up to your discretion within a few pounds, not 16 to 50.
It is absolutely crazy, and I
Yeah.
think that there definitely needs to be something done about it, because it is pricing out fans who, you know, maybe want to go watch the top clubs and they're not able to because they haven't got money in the back pocket.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You know, you go watch Stoke City, support your team, it's £16. Liverpool are in town the next week, 50 quid for your home ticket or whatever. Why? Same stadium.
Should we start a campaign?
Shall we?
Should we be sort of power to the people and say, lower these ticket prices?
Yes, shall we?
Reidy and Reidy's ticket price standardisation. It doesn't really have a ring to it, does it?
Can't hashtag
But there
that
needs
really,
to be
can you?
something done, doesn't there?
Yeah, it's unfair, I think, and I don't get why there's such a large gap in, you know, between the lowest and the highest price tickets.
Okay, right, moving on to another talking point now then. Grimsby Town and their strikers that are scoring a lot of goals at the minute. So, you know, they've got a good selection of strikers. We've got, obviously, we've got Palmer, we've got Pittman, there's Hannah, there's John Lewis. So who does Paul Hayes choose?
Well, if you look at the stats like we were discussing beforehand, it's a difficult decision, I think, because each striker's got their own good, decent record. You know, with assists and goals scored and goals to games ratio and things like that. They've all got, you know, the advantages to bringing that player on the pitch.
Looking at what the Grimsby Town fans said on Facebook, social media, Dave Elliott said Palmer and Pittman. Rhys Tharrett said Palmer and Hannah. Andy Carr said Lewis and Palmer. Tiny Wright said Hannah and Pittman. So we've got a variety of different things. So obviously if the fans are struggling to choose, then it makes it even harder for Paul Hayes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we obviously don't see these guys in training, but obviously what we see on match day is what's important, I suppose. You know, are they getting the important goals? And they are. So it's a tough decision, really, you know, what to go with.
John Whiting said, pick them all, let's go out with a bang. Could you imagine that?
So play 4-2-4.
4-2-4. That would be epic, wouldn't it?
If that works, bob on.
Be a good game. But looking at stats, obviously John Lewis is Town's top scoring striker and top scoring player. In the games that he's scored, Town have played 13, won 12 and drawn 1. So they haven't lost any when John Lewis has scored. That's a hell of a stat.
That's a great stat. You know, it's not down to John Lewis. Obviously, it's the defence helping that record as well. But it's a good little stat there.
Who would you go with if you was having to choose your strike partnership for Grimsby? Or you could go with 3, but
I would choose Palmer because he's made a massive impact since he joined the club. He can score goals. He's a big lad. He can win balls in the air, which Grimsby may have struggled with in the past up front. And then for me, it'd be between Linnell and Pittman. I'd probably say Linnell, John Lewis, just because of that record, and he's been more of a regular than Pittman. So for me, yeah, Linnell, John Lewis and Palmer would be my first choice too. But I wouldn't hesitate bringing on Hannah or Pittman because they could do a job as well.
That's the thing, and I find it really hard to choose because I don't think Hannah's been given a fair chance this season. And obviously you saw the game against Aldershot, he scored 2 quick-fire goals. He's a goal scorer, and I think given the game time and the match fitness, he can get 15 to 20 goals in the conference. And I imagine he can score goals in League 2 as well.
It's a nice dilemma to have. You'd rather have that than one striker at your club and he's injured, for example. So I think you're right, Hardy. We've got a fair chance. I'm sure Hannah can deliver as well. But right now, Palmer and Linnell, John Lewis.
Pittman's impact this season then, he's been obviously injured start of the season when he came on the show, and we were talking to him about that, saying how much he'd loved his time at Grimsby, just that short period that he'd been here. What do you think to his impact on Grimsby's season? How's he done in your eyes?
I think he can do better, to be honest. I mean, when we spoke to him, he says, he can do better. That injury's sort of made him stumble a bit at the start of the season. But I also think he can affect it sort of dropping deeper into midfield as well. He's not maybe an out-and-out striker. He can play a bit wider. He can come back into midfield. So I think he can affect the game in different ways.
I've just made a decision on who I'd choose if I was to go with 2 up top.
Took you a while.
Yeah, it did. I was racking my brain while I was speaking to you. Not that I wasn't listening to you, but I'm going to go with I'll go with Hannah and Palmer. Just because they've got the little and large strike force, which we've seen has worked in the past with clubs.
Several clubs, yeah.
Not saying that I don't rate John Lewis or Pittman, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at the upcoming fixtures then. After back-to-back wins and clean sheets in those games, Hull host Arsenal at the KC Stadium in confident mood. Steve Bruce will know that they will still need points to guarantee his side staying up. Scunthorpe travel to Doncaster knowing that their place in League One for next season is secure. The Iron Faithful will hope the players can get a decent result in this derby match. And Grimsby faced Eastleigh in their playoff second leg at Blundell Park, hoping that the Mariners crowd can roar them to victory and a place in the final. We will start with Hull City again, Reidy. Game against Arsenal. Now, dare we predict it after saying that we can't see them getting anything against Liverpool, and you know, we've sort of said they might be one of the favourites to go down for relegation.
I'm really struggling with this one, Hardy, because I'm probably going to eat my words if I say they're going to lose. But Arsenal are a different quality to Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Let's face it, you know, they're one of the well, they probably are the second best team in the league right now when you look at results and form and things like that. So it'll be very, very difficult for Hull, despite being at home, to get a win. Dare I say it, the best they can hope for is a point.
That's all you're going for, is it?
I think Arsenal are just too strong, and the quality obviously there's a difference in quality there, and that obviously that shows in the table.
And
so,
obviously the money they get to spend in the wages
exactly
and everything
as well,
like
financial as well. Yeah, you know, Arsenal are the better team really.
When Arsenal played at the KC Stadium last season, Arsenal won 3-0. With Hull hoping not for a 3-0 again.
Well, you know,
obviously,
we look at the FA Cup final. It's not beyond Hull to go and get a result. It'll just be really, really, really difficult. They'll need to be bob on the day. You know, they need a bit of luck as well. I think Arsenal need to have a bad day as well if Hull are going to get a result. Definitely.
The last time that Hull beat Arsenal at home, it wasn't at the KC Stadium, so that tells you how far back it was. It was in 1915. They beat them 1-0.
So
do you remember who scored that day,
Reidy? I think the squad might have changed slightly since then.
I think the wages are a bit different as well.
I think so.
But obviously, like you said, Arsenal are a different proposition. They're a team that play, obviously, quite fluid attacking football. I'm going to go result for that game. I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, say look at the FA Cup final. Arsenal were 2-0 down. They still had the quality and the mentality to come back and win that.
Moving on to Scunthorpe then, big derby game against Doncaster. Luckily, it doesn't mean anything apart from bragging rights in terms of, you know, local derby. How do you see that game going?
I think this will be quite a good game actually, because obviously the shackles are off now. Scunthorpe are safe. So is it a case of, look lads, it's your last game of the season. We're safe. We want you to go out and enjoy this and just show us now, with the pressure off, what you're capable of. Play the best football you can.
And do you think that the players will obviously take that on board? Are they playing for contracts and things, some of them as well?
Yeah, I'd say they're playing for the starting berth next season. You know, they're thinking, right, I need to perform well now, because then in pre-season I'll get a fair crack at playing our friendly games or whatever. So
see you off for next season.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Reidy. Well, that's all we've got time for another week. Don't forget that you can join us at the same time, the same place, every Saturday on Estuary TV. For all other sports discussion, it's On the Bench. This week it's Rob Underwood, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Reid, again.
It's always a pleasure with you in that pink shirt, Hardy.
Thank you. I was going for the salmon effect this week. The same old boring colour with you, I see. Right, thank you very much for joining us. And until next week, we will see you. Goodbye.